Hey, it's Mike Draper with AWC TV, and we're going to be taking our interview all the way to North Carolina today. We're talking with Sheila Smetzler, and she is down in Charlotte, North Carolina, out on the coast. And Sheila, thanks for coming on board today. We appreciate you doing another interview with us.
Mike, I always love being on your channel.
Well, so you guys have had an interesting year down in North Carolina. Had a pretty good storm go through there. I believe that's just north of you. Is that right?
It did. I mean, really, the bulk of the storm was just north of us on the coast. Pretty much fell between here and the Hatteras area, which is in the northern part, coastal of North Carolina. We're on the very southern part.
Okay.
And but it was crazy. It was crazy. The biggest impact that we had was flooding.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 employees that were evicted from their homes, or I should say evacuated from their homes, because the flooding was encroaching to their properties. We went up, my daughter and I went up and did some volunteer work north of us in the Wilmington area and just north in Hampstead. And it was amazing, some of the devastation that we saw up there. Communities, even in Myrtle Beach, communities that they say no flood zone, no flood zone. Water was 6 feet up the walls in their homes.
Wow.
And and what was crazy about it is the storm came in, the storm left, but it pushed the storm surge up the rivers. And we've never experienced the cresting of the rivers days and days and days and days later, impacting. We were just still on alert. The kids were out of school for 2 weeks. It was a big deal.
Yeah. How did it impact your business, Sheila, or even, I'm sure you heard and are friends with other window cleaners in the area. I mean, what impact does something like that have on an area?
This is really unique because typically in hurricane season, we tend to slow down, or when a hurricane's coming, you get the calls like, oh, let's reschedule. But this time, and I did a little bit of different marketing before the storm, and I'm sure it helped. But before the storm, we were doing a ton of hurricane preparation. We were doing, installing hurricane panels for people that already had them on their homes. We were going in and securing furniture because a lot of people have beach homes, beach properties, and they're not here and they don't want to come into the area now, right? They want to get out of here. So we did a lot of preparation. And then after the storm, because of all the blowing wind, the rain, the flooding, everything, we have been slammed.
Okay. So it actually helped business a bit.
A ton.
Okay.
A ton.
All right, good. Well, we certainly don't like.
I mean, it's not a great reason for it, but
right.
But people need our help.
Yeah.
They need service providers to help them on their homes. A lot of these people are retirees. Their homes are really big. They can't hang these shutters. They can't do the things. They can't lift the furniture to take it inside. So we just extended the service, and anybody who can do anything with their hands has been so busy. Just helping people out.
So you were just able to adapt to the situation. So probably not a lot of window cleaning, but there was other services that you could offer.
Not before the storm, but after the storm, a ton.
Okay. Well, it's funny how that works. So very good. Well, hey, Sheila, we have you guys that haven't got your copies yet. The cover of the American Window Cleaning magazine is actually Sheila's guys doing a little glass restoration work. We thought it was a really cool picture, and so we included it. And also, Sheila's got a really cool story in and of herself. She's been around the business a long time. Sheila, how long have you been in the business now?
Oh my gosh, next year is 20 years that A Plus Pro Services has been here.
Okay, geez. So I was only like 10 years old when you started. But
yeah, right? Yeah, it wasn't until it's been 14 years I've had the company on my own, Mike.
Okay. We started very similar then. You had me by about a year. So okay. I started clearly it wasn't clearly at the time, but in 2000. So very good. How'd you get in the business in the first place? I mean, you went to college and this is just your dream. I want to be a window cleaner when I grow up.
Hell no. Yeah, I always like to tell my customers, and I'll say this because it's all right, but I married the wrong guy. I married the wrong guy. He happened to be a professional window cleaner. I mean, really lifelong. He grew up in the Myrtle Beach area, and he was a window cleaner from day one. The company that he used to work for is still down there. And when we met in Colorado, I went to Colorado State University. We met out there and the ski slopes and all of that.
Yeah.
And moved. He's from this area, so we moved back here to start our family, and we started this business at the time. And I was just a stay-at-home mom and answered the phones and did the books and things like that. And so there was a time where the ball was dropped, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had my 2 daughters, and we had one Hispanic employee at the time that I was kind of against hiring. And it was that kid that really, it was like this day of reckoning, and everything fell apart, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I turned to that guy and I said, whatever you want to do is fine with me. And he said, oh, Sheila, I'm going to stay with you. And that kid taught me how to do all the work. And I really had to go through this cycle of working like a man. And it was 3 or 4 years that I was out in the work truck with this one guy, and drop the kids off at school, and we'd go work, and I'd show up in the carpool line to pick up my kids after school in the work truck. And here's this young woman, right? But I had to do that. It was really what I had. And it was, and then it kind of just all unfolded from there. Some of the worst things that happened to me has turned out to be the best things in my life.
Yeah. I've known you for a long time. I don't know when exactly we met, but I've always appreciated you. Very smart and savvy business owner, always inquisitive about things, looking at things. So anybody that's looking on, you've always been a really good person and a good business person. So so how does that develop then? So first you started cleaning windows then, right? This isn't just something you just...
Yeah, pressure washing houses, cleaning windows, learn how to do the work. Yep.
Yeah, and so from 99, this is something too, everybody gets on these not TVs, but the social media, and it's all about the $1 million business and all this stuff. Right. And, there is a grind that has to take place and I'm sure this was for you as well. It was because you were cleaning, but from 1999 to were you just like grinding and, oh my goodness, I'm working these hours and I'm getting killed here? Yeah.
So 99 to about 2006 was the best years of my life because I was a stay-at-home mom. And I'll always thank my ex-husband for that, right? Because he provided that opportunity for me to be with my kids.
Right.
But from 2006 to now, I would say up until the last few years, I've been grinding hard. And not until I really started to, and getting involved in the industry has turned everything around for me. Because otherwise we were just in this little niche window cleaning company in southeastern North Carolina. And I didn't know that all these people across the world did what we did. I really didn't know until I went to an IWCA convention the very first time on a scholarship.
Okay.
And that's what opened my eyes. I was like, people they actually are making money. They have a business. This is their livelihood. This is an industry. And that's when my eyes opened wide. And it wasn't until the last several years I hired a business coach and really started to dive into my business. Mm-hmm. And it's been amazing what that's done for A+ Pro.
Yeah, looking back, so, and I was similar. So I really didn't get stuff figured out business-wise. I sold in 2014, and I can honestly say it wasn't until 2009, 2010 that everything was just on autopilot. I started in 2000. So, there's a lot of years there of doing stuff wrong, grinding, you're busy and in the business and you don't quite have it figured out yet. It takes a certain amount of time to get things established. And I always tell guys that just don't think that this just starts off as $1 million business. And I don't care what systems you put in place. I don't care about any of that. There just takes a certain amount of time to get everything ironed and figured out.
It does.
What changes? So from the year 2006 is when then you first started, going out on your own. What kind of changes have you seen over the last 8, 9, 10 years?
As far as the industry, or
yeah.
Wow.
I know my hair's gotten grayer. I'm not talking about that kind of change, Sheila. I'm talking about the industry.
Okay. Well, I've definitely talking about gray hair.
I said mine, not yours.
My mouth. But I mean, really, when I was in my young 30s, and just like I said, going to the IWCA convention the very first time. And there's a lot of the good old boys. And hey, these guys are still around. They're very successful. They run very successful window cleaning companies around the country. And but I kind of grew up like looking at some of these people saying, I'm never going to be like that, or can I ever be? Do I want to be like that? I'm not sure. But, now the trend in our industry is definitely the hype is more around the younger guys. Really kind of like, it's almost like we're really trying to glorify our industry a little bit more. It's more cool. It's more hip. And I see a trend too, where it was always like, it seemed like the idea was to have a really big, large commercial company doing high-rise work and things like that. Now I really see the trends more in the residential, the home service niche, and which is great because that's my space.
Right.
But I don't know if you see the same things, but the popularity of window cleaning, and a lot of that has to do with, come on, technology today and all of the sites, all the groups that are out there and the different sites. I mean, what you're doing with AWC, so I think it definitely attracts that younger crowd and the new guys. They're trying to learn the industry. It's right in front of their face. Anything they want to learn, they can learn it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I remember the primo companies several years ago when you went to the IWCA or one of these events, like the good old boys that you describe, and I know that crowd. They were high-rise companies. They are great people,
and they're still very passionate about the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I certainly learned a lot from them through the years. But I think now there are more up and coming companies that aren't in the high rise realm or the exterior building services envelope. They're more residential driven or small commercial mid rise driven. So that is a big change. I do see that.
Another thing we really have to consider is, as our baby boomers and me being in more of the home service, the residential circuit, consider the baby boomers moving out. And I'm always thinking like, this is my customer. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But think about it. I think that we're on the brink of this whole new era as the millennials come up through and start buying homes. How do they do business? They do business like this. They do business online. They're not going to go out like, let's think about it. A lot of my customers, first of all, first thing the lady says is, I don't want my husband climbing ladders anymore. So first thing we hear. And that's because these men, these older men, generation men, they want to do these things around their home. Mm-hmm. This newer generation, they're not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this as an opportunity and kind of preparing myself for, what is doing business with this new generation going to be about? And what's that going to be like? And I'm really trying to gear up for it.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned, when you came onto the scene that, you went to IWCA convention on a scholarship or whatever, but you noticed that it was this good old boys club, if you will. And honestly, I know window cleaners throughout the whole United States. You're in somewhat of a minority. There's not a lot of women window cleaners in and of themselves, and less than of the business owners. I'd actually say that. No, I say that wrong. Most of the women I know in the business are actually owners.
Owners, right?
Yeah. So, have you ever felt like this is a man's world and you didn't really, you didn't fit in, or there was, any sort of, just looking down upon you while you was trying to rise up?
I love this question because no,
Okay.
I have never, ever felt that. As a matter of fact, I truly believe in just even talking about my older clients, the older men, these are 70s, sometimes pushing 80s and older. Being a woman and a young woman is never, I truly feel that people like doing business with a woman. I think that it's done nothing but help me. I think because I'm a woman, people accepted me very easily because, I'm the type of person, I'm just going to dive in, right? I'm going to talk to people and get to know things and issues and all of that. But so no, I think that, and even the physical labor of it, it's always been challenging. It's hard to find, what I love hiring women because I think that we're really good cleaners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, I try to hire women, I'm always asking questions, did you play sports, or what kind of outdoor activities do you do? Because you have to find athletic type of women that are strong and can do the work.
Right.
From the business side, like I say, I think there's just a level of trust with doing business with a woman. I think it's done nothing but help me. So it's been great. And being in a male dominant industry is so cool when you're a woman and you have the company and you know how to do the work, and I've learned the craft, and I'm succeeding. So it's awesome.
You are, and the thing that I like about you is, I just, I guess if I had to put it, if somebody says, well, what about Sheila, and I would, I think my response would be, well, yeah, I know Sheila, and I mean, she's no slouch in the game, right? She can sling a squeegee. I've seen her in the competitions. I've seen, she knows the business. She's dug in. She knows what's going on. She's not just sitting behind a desk, with a pretty face. She's out there in it and knows what's going on. And I think that's what. Go ahead.
Michael, because I owe it a lot to my father. My father was a very hardworking man, and I also owe it to my being raised in the Midwest. It's just that genuine hardworking. Doesn't matter what you do; it's how you do it. That's the way that I was raised, and the things that have been the hardest on me have really elevated me the farthest. And so, if you're open to failure, and you try to make the best out of it, you're going to succeed.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's all those things. It's growing up in the Midwest, your father's influence, whatever with the marriage, and just out there doing the grind. That is the thing that makes you a most interesting person. And we really appreciate you coming on board today with us and just telling us a little bit about your business.
Thanks, Mike.
Stay tuned for our next episode of AWC TV by following us on YouTube, Facebook, or our website, awcmag.com.